What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and today we are going to be taking a closer look at the new exotic armor and weapons coming to Destiny 2 within episode Revenant, arriving very soon. Now, this is coming from an early capture event where some creators were invited out to try these exotics early. So, for example, Datto has a fantastic video showing these off. Your boy, however, was not invited. And I also wasn't invited to the Final Shape capture event. I think I made one too many Pete Parsons jokes on Twitter, but it is what it is. I still want to go over these exotics, give my take on them, how they're going to interact with builds and build crafting going forward, and hey, making videos is the only thing staving off the depression at this point, so let's get started. This is all coming from this article from The Gaming Post, which is going to be linked in the description down below. They got the screenshots. So let's start here with the armor. There is going to be 3 new armor pieces being added with episode Revenant. And I said this in my prep video, and I'm going to say it again because it's so important, guys. When it comes to getting new armor, remember what you have to do is rank up the Cryptarch to be able to target focus these new exotics. So right now you have a few days left. Make sure to stock up on exotic engrams if you can, because then if you have a full inventory of exotic engrams, you can just decrypt them all, instantly rank up the Cryptarch, and focus these brand new exotics, right? So first off, we have the Mask of Fealty exotic helmet for the Hunter. The intrinsic trait is Null Factor, and it says, Withering Blade hits and bounces create a small stasis crystal and refund a portion of melee energy. Using Withering Blade to shatter crystals or frozen targets releases a spread of Withering Blades. So you're going to throw your Ice Shuriken. It's going to potentially hit a frozen target, which will create a bunch more Ice Shurikens heading off in other directions that could, I guess, hit more frozen targets, and presumably all those, extra Ice Shurikens that spawn will also get the effects of this exotic. So the combo potential is there. So you could absolutely use this new exotic to create a stasis-based melee build using Withering Blade. And remember, you don't just have to be stasis, Prismatic gets access to Withering Blade as well, and this would work in a Prismatic build no problem. You're going to be throwing those Withering Blades, refunding them as they hit and bounce, creating a bunch of stasis crystals which have further synergy with certain stasis things, and all of that is sick. The problem, however, is if you're going to make a melee build, especially if you're going to make it with your Prismatic subclass, we already have the absolute absurdity that is the combination blow melee builds with the Spirit of the Liars exotic class item combined with, Spirit of Caliban. Those are so insane. Like, this competing with those has a ton of competition. Now, if you're going pure stasis, this has more of a chance of being viable for sure, but definitely some interesting synergies here, and certainly will make your Withering Blades significantly better. And again, if you are building into stasis, you want to be making stasis crystals, for example, this could start to become a lot more viable, especially remember, guys, we have a ton of stasis benefits of seasonal artifact perks that benefit stasis specifically going into episode Revenant. So suddenly stuff like this becomes very viable, at least for the duration of Revenant. Moving on from there, guys, to the Warlocks. They are getting a new exotic chest piece, the Rime Coat Raiment. Now, the intrinsic perk here is Bleak Domain. Your Bleak Watcher turrets are enhanced with extended range and are surrounded by stasis crystals and a storm. While standing in the storm, you are granted icicles over time. Icicles activate when you fire your weapons, applying slow to targets they hit. Okay, so obviously Bleak Watcher turrets are cracked, and just like the previous exotic, you have access to Bleak Watcher both on your Stasis subclass and on your Prismatic subclass. So you could absolutely run this exotic in a Prismatic subclass, no problem. And again, Bleak Watcher is cracked, so just improving Bleak Watcher is gonna be great. Like enhancing it, it's got extended range, and it's gonna make those Stasis crystals. You are going to now get a slow effect on your weapons if you're standing near your Bleak Watcher for for a while, so all of that is very, very good. The only thing that gives me pause is that what is better, an enhanced Bleak Watcher or 2 Bleak Watchers, right? Because there's the exotic gauntlets, and the name is escaping me right now, but they give you a second stasis grenade, and that means you can have 2 Bleak Watcher turrets down at the same time. And that is generally what people would run. That ruled the meta for quite a while because, like, obviously, again, 1 Bleak Watcher is cracked, 2 is just better. So that's going to be the main thing that is competing with in like a stasis Bleak Watcher based build. Do you want the better Bleak Watcher or do you want 2 of them? And I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. This does sound pretty sick, however. Moving on from there, last but certainly not least, we have the new exotic leg armor for the Titan, the Blastweave Striders. And the intrinsic trait, also called Blastweave Striders, does the following. Gain resistance to your explosives? Defeat targets to charge this armor. Once charged, slide or deal explosive self-damage to rocket jump backwards and blast deadly shrapnel projectiles that spawn stasis crystals on impact. Charge rocket jumps grant frost armor. What? Okay, these are by far the craziest, and they're going to be really difficult to assess, like how good they are really, until months have passed in the game and people have really experimented with different builds, different scenarios, but these just sound so interesting. So, first of all, I would say that these pair incredibly well with the mountaintop, right? That already has reduced self-damage. It gives you that big momentum boost. Now you're going to get even more reduced damage, and that's just an easy way to damage yourself with an explosive. Specifically, however, this also wants to be used with rockets. With charged rocket jumps will grant frost armor. So, importantly, the stuff this exotic wants you to use, rocket launchers specifically, but also explosives like grenade launchers, those are already really good, and you want to be using them anyways. Particularly within episode Revenant, we have a ton of seasonal artifact perks that buff the crap out of grenade launchers, right? We actually have Breach and Clear that will make grenade launcher damage on powerful enemies, on bosses, weaken them. That is coming back next season. So if you're already running grenade launchers to take advantage of these seasonal artifact perks, right? Well, you can just put this thing on and then shoot guys right near you to get that explosive self-damage and trigger all these different things. Now, will that actually be good in-game? It's really hard to tell because these are so unique, but again, it's not really asking you to use something weird or use something you wouldn't otherwise use. A lot of people are already running explosive weapons. So these could actually be really, really interesting. In PvP as well, remember, it does trigger for the self-damage, but it doesn't need to. You can simply get stacks by getting kills and then trigger it by sliding, right? The explosive stuff is kind of just an add-on. So potentially just that could be used on its own to be a powerful addition to your build, to your arsenal, right? But moving on from there, we have the exotic weapons. Now, first of all, I want to quickly talk about the Icebreaker. This was not shown off in the early access event because it is the new dungeon exotic, but we do know from the live stream that one of the effects of the Icebreaker is that it's going to be able to regen its ammo by getting kills with your other weapons. So you DPS with it and it has like a 10-round mag, and then once the damage phase is done, you go around killing a bunch of enemies. By the time you're on the second damage phase, your Icebreaker is going to be reloaded. I just wanted to mention that. But specifically, what we got a closer look at was the new Seasons Pass exotic, which is the Alethonium, and this is a crazy new primary ammo stasis grenade launcher. So yes, that is so important. This is also, just like the Fighting Lion, going to be using primary ammo, so it will have infinite ammo. So, the intrinsic trait for this thing is Harvester Spike. This weapon fires a Harvester Spike projectile, and these projectiles are going to travel incredibly straight to the target, just like the mountaintop. Then it says, dealing final blows with this weapon creates a single vestige at the target's location. impaling more powerful combatants with the projectile creates a steady stream of vestiges from the target. So you get a kill on a red bar, you just get one, but if you direct impact, so impaling, I mean, it's a spike, right? So you direct impact a powerful enemy and they're just going to stream out a bunch of vestiges. Now, what are you doing with these vestiges? Well, the other intrinsic trait is vestigial alchemy. This weapon gains energy when picking up vestiges. You can activate a special reload with at least 50% energy to cause your next projectile to create ammo bricks for you and your allies on impact. Special bricks are created at 50% energy, while heavy bricks are created at 100% energy. And we saw this weapon being shown off quite a bit within the live stream, but it's really nice to get like the direct wording of these perks because holy crap, this thing seems kind of insane. Infinite ammo, it's going to be stasis, so it has definite benefits this season with all of the stasis themes, and then also it is generating heavy ammo. Now, it may take a little while to get enough vestiges to generate that heavy ammo, but just giving another tool in your arsenal to generate heavy. Right now, the only things that just 100% generate heavy are going to be stuff like the Aeon's Exotic Gauntlets, where you have to go get finishers on, champions. So you could use that and this new grenade launcher at the same time, and now you have two different ways of generating heavy. But again, aside from the whole generating heavy thing, it also just seems like a good weapon. Like a primary ammo grenade launcher, it seems to have done decent damage like in the livestream gameplay, and it's going to shoot direct at your target and explode exactly when it hits the ground, like the mountaintop. That just seems very good on its own, guys. Not to mention, again, it's stasis, so it gets all of the benefits from the seasonal artifact perks, boosting stasis this season. Like, this could be the best Seasons Pass exotic that we've seen in a while. I mean, actually, to be honest, the Red Death last season was cracked out of its mind, but like the Witherhoard, when that came on, it warped the meta. Could we have another Seasons Pass grenade launcher absolutely warp the meta? Maybe, because this thing really does seem incredibly powerful. Guys, that is going to be it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.